The hope that visits in the end. All of a sudden, snow was beating against my face with amazing force. It was so much that I could barely scream. I was forced into a crouch. There was a terrible ringing in my ears. It was horrible pain. I couldn't hear very well. Uni, Yomogi, and Maizumi. I heard a faint scream through the high-pitched ring in my ears. I looked at my surroundings, but I could only see the darkness of the night stretching in every direction. From within the darkness, snow came to assault me again and again. The darkness and the snow hindered my vision, and I could barely even make out what was a few meters ahead of me. Even so, I was somehow able to perceive the faint beam of a flashlight. There I was able to confirm the outlines of Yomogi, Maizumi, and Uni. Okay, so I've got a little theory here, again, about Uni. And I think the Uni that we're seeing right now, and the Uni that was the Uni that's on the plane in the shelter cabin universe, is future Uni. But I feel that the Uni that's at Sphere is... Okay, let's just say this. Let's say let's say that the plane crash that Cocoro was on was the alternate plane crash, and there was one original plane crash that happened. And this is going to be very hard to explain. Basically, what I think is happening, if anyone knows the many worlds interpretation, I think that the Uni at Sphere is from a universe where the things that happened in the shelter cabin went bad, and he was the only survivor. And he is at Sphere because he is coping with that, and coping with what happened. And whatever happens at Sphere, something changes him and something happens to him. And I think his personality, or maybe even his whole body, gets sent back in time to the plane crash, so he can change what happened. So think of it as he was originally in that time and things went bad. And then after coping with it, he was able to go back, and since he's gone back, he's trying to make sure that everyone survives. And that also brings up another theory. The choices you make, I feel like some of those choices are actually Unis. Because, I can't name it off the top of my head, because there are some choices where I say do this, and Cocoro is immediately like, I'm gonna do the other thing. Like, I think there was one of them where, what do you call it? There was one of them where Yomogi was like, can you safeguard the can? And I chose to safeguard it, but Cocoro was immediately like, no, you safeguard it. But in the end, I ended up safeguarding it because Yomogi said, no, it's better off if you do it. And I was like, what? I chose to safeguard it, why would Cocoro say this? I chose to, which means she should have chosen to. Unless most of the choices, if not all of them, are actually some other being choosing these. In this case, Uni. Or maybe someone else. So, like, for example, what you're choosing is the final outcome, not how your character or the character you're viewing things through is going through. Does that make sense? Basically, what I'm saying is, I feel like we're going through the story in the eyes of someone, but we're not actually controlling them. We're only controlling the outcomes. So it's like a godly presence. That's what I feel like is going on. So that's getting pretty, yeah, that's getting interesting. The three of them were covered in thick clothes to protect them from the cold, covering their ears and writhing in agony. It's hurry to start means... What? My ears are... something at this, something back. I'll find you walk the... Unable to hear anything due to the ring in my ears and the roaring of the storm, I couldn't make out anything they said. Headed for the three of them. Hey, how did this happen? None of them had even noticed my voice. Everything seemed to have their hands full dealing with themselves. Why am I... No, all of us, why are we outside? Going out for a walk in the middle of the blizzard like this was an act of suicide. Yomogi should know that better than anyone. clung to Yomergi. Yomergi-san! Yomergi finally noticed me. It was the darkness, I was unable to see the expression on his face. What's going on? Yomergi violently shook his head. This is the first time that the weather's changed so rapidly. The things we were saying didn't line up. No, not that. Even so, we can't keep up in the helicopter. Even so, we can't keep up in the helicopter. Helicopter? What do you mean helicopter? I'm going on ahead. Yomergi shook off my... Did he get the satellite phone working? Yomergi shook off my hand and began walking. Wait, I'm going too, so wait up. As if using up the last of her strength, the already weakened Maizumi began to stagger forward unsteadily, trying to follow Yomergi. Uni silently followed after them. Please wait. I tried once more to pull Yomergi back. It'd be suicide to continue like this. Let's go back. I know that it's dangerous, but if we let this go, we might not get a chance of old eternity. It's our last chance. Chance? What is he saying? I don't know what happened, but it seems like Yomergi has completely lost it. I couldn't just let them continue on like this. It's no good. Let's go back. If we don't, everyone's going back. Everyone's going to die. If you want to go back yourself. On the side, Maizumi pushed me away. I stumbled and landed on my rear on the snow. What are you doing? It's not the time for your useless petty words. That's right. If you want to go back no matter what, then we're going to leave you behind. I couldn't believe it. Even your Magi, who's agreed with Meizumi's reckless view. Just what has happened? Yomergi turned his back on me and continued advancing into the darkness. At this rate, I'll be left behind. I'm gonna follow Yomergi. The fear of being left behind chilled me into this bone. Wait, the figures of Yomergi and the rest were far off. Don't leave me behind. I stood up frantically and chased after them. My footing in the snow was bad, and on top of that, I had barely any strength left. Even though I'd taken only a single step forward, I had already felt my knees were about to give in. Couldn't put any strength into them. My body was heavy. My vision was dim. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't stop my entire body from shivering. The feeling of my fingers and toes were already gone, and the clothing I was wearing were already soaked. No matter how many layers you piled on, they were still made to be worn in a city after all. There weren't any articles of clothing that could withstand this intensely cold environment. Things were hardly carrying out their function of protecting us from the cold. On the contrary, my body was slowly starting to cool. My coat wet with snow grew, wet with snow grew heavy and limited my mobility. A limited amount of snow blew onto my exposed face. It was difficult to even open my eyes properly, but even so I continued to walk. If I stop, I'll die. Barely managing to catch up with Yomergi and the rest, I had only a moment of relief before it happened. Our only means with which to tear through the darkness. The beam of the flashlight suddenly started shaking in a disorderly manner. As soon as I had that thought, it suddenly disappeared. Uni, who was walking ahead of me, had stopped and was now standing still. As the darkness had deprived me of the vision, I narrowly avoided running into him. What's wrong? It's Seiji. One of the Yomergi. Making my way past Uni and advancing a little further, I saw Yomergi crouching down. The flashlight was now sticking up out of the snow. What's wrong? I picked up the flashlight and shone the beam onto Yomergi. Ugh. His breathing was terribly rough. It looked like he was on the verge of suffocating to death at any moment. His face was soaked with sweat and his eyes looked hollow. What's the matter? You okay? Yomergi answered with a raised hand. He shook his head back and forth lightly. I think he muttered something, but I wasn't able to catch most of it. I drew my ear closer to him. I'm just a bit tired. Please go on without me. His words sounded extremely weak. It didn't look like he was just a bit tired at all. Yomergi's been pushed past the point of exhaustion as well. But... Seeing me hesitate, Yomergi grabbed onto my arm with the appearance of someone near death. He desperately begged me. If we can reach the crash site, we'll be able to manage somehow. I saw a helicopter. I saw it with my own eyes. Right now, rather than me, our top priority is to make contact with the helicopter. Helicopter? Was that why they continued to march on recklessly? But there's no way a helicopter could come in this snowstorm. There's no way it could fly. It's obvious that what Yomergi saw was just a hallucination. But what if there really was one? If it were true, then this was the chance we've been wishing for. If we made contact with the helicopter, everyone would be saved. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? That's why you need to go on ahead. Okay, I'll believe you. I understand. I squeezed Yomergi's hand tightly. Even through my gloves, I could feel his strength weakening. But even so, I chose to leave him behind. It wasn't that I didn't know what leaving him behind in a place like this really meant. We might never meet again. It was hard and I felt like I was about to cry. But I desperately held back. If we show weakness, nature will mercilessly take away our lives. We'll be back for sure, so please wait for us. That's why I said it. Yomogi looked like he was smiling faintly. Standing still, Maizumi and Uni were staring at me worriedly. Right now, the ones with the most strength left was me. I have to do something. Let's go. You two, follow me. What can I do? What I can do, the very least I can do to atone. But I don't remember it myself. The debt that I owed for consuming our food pushed me on. I have to do it. What am I able to do right now? Mimicking what I've seen Yomogi do, rustled a single step forward through the deep snow. I wonder how far we've walked. It felt like we'd been wandering inside the snowstorm for hours, but in reality only about 10 minutes had probably passed. It became impossible to tell time. Whoops. No matter how long we walked, we may never reach our goal. Thinking of that bred anxiety in me. I had no idea it was this difficult to stand at the front and rustle. It stole my strength so quickly that I became sharply aware of it. Amongst those aimless thoughts, the figure of Yomogi floated into my mind. Was the decision to abandon him really the right one? Even if I asked myself that, I couldn't answer it. Only the words spoken by Yomogi, "If we can reach the crash site, we'll be able to manage somehow," repeated in my mind as I absentmindedly continued. Will I reach the crash site first, or will I fall dead of exhaustion? My strength was already exhausted. What remained was willpower. When that willpower runs out, I'll die. I continued to mutter, walk, walk to myself with each step I took. I turned my head and quickly glanced behind me. Maizumi and Uni too continued to push forward in silence. I had been worried about Uni's condition for a while now. He seems to be staggering. Their backs hunched over and their heads hanging low. They walked unsteadily like the zombies you'd seen in the movie. The way they looked told me that it wouldn't be odd for them to fall over at any moment. And at that very moment I thought that Uni's body rocked and swayed. Just like that, his strength deserted him and he collapsed onto the snow. For a moment I couldn't understand what had happened. I walked over to Uni. I absent-mindedly stared at his small, fallen body. Uni? I slowly poured on Uni's hand. His hand was so cold it was as if it was frozen. No matter how much I pulled, his hand only hung there lifeless. Are you dead? Even calling out to him was troubling to me. The other me in my heart became angry at myself. What do you think you're doing, just dozing off like that? Hurry and save Uni. I fell to my knees as if collapsing, and lifted Uni's body softly into my arms. That in turn felt to me like hard labor. Uni's eyes wouldn't open. I'd thought he was dead, but he was still breathing laboriously. I slapped his cheek. Uni, wake up! Uni slightly opened his eyes between pants. He said, I can't walk anymore. Don't say that, you'll die, you know. It's no use. Give it up. Standing where she was, Maizumi took a look over at Uni. He can't be saved. Maizumi was wearing a blank expression. Her body was wavering back and forth, and her eyes reflected nothing. We have no choice but to leave him. What was she saying? Leave who behind? Uni? Don't say such ridiculous things. We don't have any other options, right? Do we all die, or do we leave just that child to die? Either way, that child can't be saved. Maizumi curved her lips in self-derision. I looked at Uni's face. In order to save myself, I had to abandon this child. Was that really alright? But I'm afraid to die. I don't want to die. Even if I have to leave others to die, I'm definitely going to survive. How about you? In order to save the minority, you have to sacrifice the minority. That might be an act of courage itself, but I'm saving him. I'm sorry. There's no way I could do something as cruel as abandoning someone. I'm going back to the cabin together with Uni. Wait, I didn't want to do that. I embraced Uni tightly. Again with the naive optimism. Even so, even if you say that it's just pretty words. I think they mean petty, but I don't really know. I can't sacrifice such a young child to survive. I wouldn't be able to bear that. I had almost lost something important to me as a person. I'd only end up hating myself unbearably. And, at that moment inside the crashing airplane, I swore to myself that I'd protect Uni. I swore it. Right now, no matter what happens to me, I'm gonna save Uni. Endless mantled environment. What are you saying? Mizumi caught hold of me and shook me violently by the chest. It's our chance to live and return home. If we let this go, there won't be any more chances. Did you just say, return to the cabin? You want to die? But there's no way in hell I'll do that. Thrusting me away, Mizumi began to walk alone in the darkness. Wait, Mizumi-san, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this! However, Mizumi didn't turn around. Falling several times as she went, she continued treading through the snow. This is bad. Letting her go alone would be too dangerous. But I looked down at Uni. If I left Uni here, his life would be in danger instead. I hesitated. Should I abandon Mizumi? Maybe she won't die. Maybe she'll be able to find the helicopter. Maybe. I shook my head. It was all wishful thinking. Those assumptions were totally meaningless. I was only making excuses in my head so that I wouldn't blame myself if she died. Cocoro. Uni was clenching the hem of my coat. Panicking, I brought my face close to his. Uni, are you alright? Unbelievably, I saw that Uni was smiling weakly. Go on and save Lin. A small voice, like that of a mosquito buzzing. You have to bring Lin back. Uni, you... Even though he was on the verge of death, the child was still worried about others. Moreover, the one he was worrying about was that self-centered troublemaker, Mizumi. I'll be waiting here, so Cocoro. I grasped Uni's hand, and he finally squeezed back with what little strength he had left. Bring Lin back. If you don't, everything will have been for nothing. Everyone will die. I understand, so don't talk anymore. Uni's kindness may be deeper than the sea. I won't let this child die. This child has to live. I want to protect this child, and I want to fulfill this child's will. I won't trample on the child's kindness. I don't want to let anyone die. We're all going to live and return together. I kissed Uni's now freezing cheek. I got it, I'll definitely be back. So don't die. Make sure you wait. After slightly nodding to Uni, I stood up. The things I can do, the things only I can do, I'll do them now. I began running through the snow. My dim senses flew further and further away as I ran. My knees had already begun aching. If I stepped for even a moment, I'd probably collapse. If I stopped for even a moment, I'd probably collapse and never be able to get up again. Even so, I continued running, feeling the need to redeem myself along with a strong will to rescue them, thinking everyone will be alive and return together. I caught up with Mizumi right away. Her steps were faltering. She wasn't even able to walk straight anymore. Mizumi-san! I reached up to grab Mizumi's shoulder from behind. It happened without warning. Mizumi whirled around and swung her ice... Whoa! Ice axe at me! Kya! Fell backwards, narrowly avoiding it. Just now she was aiming for my head. If it had hit me full on, the thought utterly terrified me. Can't believe it. What? Did Mizumi just try to kill me? She peered down at me with bloodshot eyes. Mizumi-san, why? Don't get in my way. I've had more than enough of your pretty words. I refuse to let myself die with you guys. I'm gonna live, I'm definitely gonna survive. If anyone gets in my way, I'll kill them, no matter who it is. Mizumi-san, listen to me. Shut up! Mizumi finally shook her head. The atmosphere was still tense, as if she would attack with her ice axe at any moment. I won't believe anyone else. The only one I can believe in is myself. You probably just thought I was getting in the way, didn't you? I was the only one you talked to so hatefully. You thought I'd be better off if I died, didn't you? That's not... But I won't let that happen. I won't listen to what anyone says anymore. This is bad. Mizumi was becoming deranged. She most likely was unable to endure the fear and anxiety any longer. And because of that, her mind had been pushed to the limit. I have to calm her down somehow. Please, just listen to me. There's no way a helicopter can land in this blizzard. We have to wait for another chance. So let's get back together for now. Saying shit like that, what are you planning this time? You get him away again, I'll really kill you. Mizumi's face shows she thinks nothing of turning this confrontation into a bloodbath. I was terrified. If this continued, I'd really be killed. Mizumi raised the ice axe. Stay still. I squeezed my eyes shut. I'm gonna believe in Mizumi. I'm gonna show her why no longer who no longer believed in anything. That I believed in her. We were comrades. Ah! Mizumi's scream rang out. My mind immediately went blank with panic. I was flooded with regret and unease. Is this really alright? Did I make the right choice? Is it really okay to believe in Mizumi? I don't want to die. My heart pounded with amazing force. Nothing happened. I was still alive. I slowly opened my eyes. Her arms drooping lifelessly, Mizumi was hanging her head. She had dropped the ice axe by her feet. Unthinkingly, I was breathing a sigh of relief. I reached her. My faith in Mizumi was able to get through to her. Why are you so strong? Strong? Me? I'm not strong at all. I just don't want anyone to die, only that. I stood up and took Mizumi's hand. I softly squeezed it. Let's go back. If we don't lose hope, we'll definitely be rescued. Everyone will return together. So come on, let's go back for now. Mizumi only stared at me wordlessly. Or it might have been that she had just been following me obediently as I pulled on her hand. My sense of direction was completely thrown off by the snowstorm. I was worried about whether I'd be able to return to where Uni was, but I promised that I'd definitely return. Believing that, I pulled Mizumi by the hand while pushing my way through the snow. Hey, look over there! From behind me, Mizumi points off into the darkness. There I saw a faint light. It was the beam of a flashlight. We rushed towards the source of the light. There was an unexpected person waiting for us. Oh. Hey. Yomogi-san! Yomogi, who I thought I'd left behind partway, had dug a shallow hole in the snow similar to a bivouac and was crouching in it. Uni was curled up against his chest. Yomogi's face was covered in snow, and his eyes were void of spirit, but he was still grinning from ear to ear. Superman's come to save you. You stupid jerk really brought us all home right now. Thank goodness, thank goodness. When we were separated, I was worried that we'd never meet again. That's why being able to see him again was all the more wonderful. How's Uni? He's still okay, however he's in bad shape. Let's go back to the cabin. What about the helicopter? I shook my head and Yomogi's shoulders drooped in dejection. Mizumi and I helped Yomogi as he began to crawl out of the hole. Yomogi looked like he wanted to say something to the oddly obedient Mizumi, but in the end he just gave me a small wink instead. End of self-sacrifice. It didn't look as though Uni would be able to walk by himself. He was still unconscious, but his body had gone completely limp. This isn't good. Seeing Uni like that, Yomogi groaned. Hypothermia is setting in. We had better run. Saying that, he lifted Uni's body in his arms and began to carry him over his shoulder. I'll carry Uni. Yomogi-san, I'll carry him instead. I saw a look of astonishment spread over Yomogi's face. Oh, it's impossible for you. It isn't really possible for you either, Yomogi-san. And besides, I ate a lot, so I'm still okay. Please let me carry him. It's the least I can do. And besides, Yomogi had the duty of leading us back to the cabin. Yomogi was still slightly hesitant, but he gave a small shrug of his shoulders in the end. I understand, but tell me if it gets too hard for you part way. I'll change with you anytime. Okay. I took Uni from Yomogi and began to carry him. Even though he was still a child, he was rather heavy. Moreover, my footing was bad. Wondering if my strength would hold out, it suddenly became uneasy. But even then, I have to carry him. I wanted to do something for Uni, something to save Uni. I wanted to protect Uni. I could feel Uni shivering and his low temperature through my back. Let's go. Following after Yomogi, I began to walk. Don't die, Uni. Feeling Uni's weight on me, I pray. Honestly, I didn't know if the decision to return to the cabin was the right one. It may have been better for us to have just kept going. There might have been a helicopter waiting at the crash site and the four of us might have really been rescued. We had chosen to return to the cabin with the thought of not wanting to put Uni through any of the suffering in our minds. If that choice was wrong, we would all suffer, not only Uni but Yomogi and Mizumi as well. Doubt began to overflow into my mind. In this harsh environment, a single mistake in judgment can turn out to be fatal. What was right and what was wrong? Was the decision I made the right one? Walking in a blizzard in the dark of night, we didn't know where we were heading, but Yomogi's footsteps steadily continued. He continued walking straight without any sign of hesitation. Yomogi's back blocked out the snowstorm. His existence here was reassuring. I shook off the indecision in my heart and continued walking. Still, the limit of my strength was approaching. The exhaustion became unbearable and I began to stagger over my own feet. I can't walk anymore. Attacked by despair just when I was about to collapse. There it is. In front of our eyes was the shelter cabin where we had spent the last 5 days. We've made it back to our final fortress. Or maybe the place that will become our grave. Nobody spoke a word. There was no hope there. There was only a gently slopping despair. But still, it was the only place where we'll be able to live for just a little longer. That's right, only a little longer.